Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to tonight's ordinary meeting. Firstly, Council would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of these lands, waters and skies, the Wadawurrung people. We acknowledge and respect their continuing connections to their lands, waters, skies, culture and the contribution they make to the life and spirit of our community. We pay respect to their past and present elders and extend this respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples. Item 2, present and apologies. We do have an apology from Councillor Grigau. And Mr CEO, any other apologies?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. And Gihan Kabahanje is an apology as well.
Okay, thank you. Item 3, conflict of interest disclosure. Councillors, any conflict of interest? No. Officers? No. Thank you. Item 4, leave of absence of councillor. We have Councillor Isabel Tolhurst is still on a leave of absence and still awaiting arrival of their new child, which is overdue, but hopefully we'll keep everyone informed. Public question time, item 5. 5.1, public question status update. No questions are outstanding. 5.2, public questions. Advised that we have received 5 public questions that have been received by Council within the prescribed timelines. Public question 1 is from the QCA. David, would you like to read it out, or are you happy for me to? Thank you. Question 1, in light of the current budget, Council has a 7-page asset plan to assist with its maintenance and renewal programs for the next 10 years. This budget, Council has reduced building maintenance by 83% from the previous year. In 2007, Council adopted an infrastructure asset and service management plan prepared by CT Management Group, containing 46 pages. CT Management Group also did a review of the building asset and condition report in 2014, containing 79 pages. Both were presented as part of the ESC rate capping presentation in 2018. In light of the reduction in the building maintenance budget, does Council still access or utilise those 2 highly informative and instructive management reports to better manage its building assets, given the brevity of the current asset plan presented by this Council? I'll ask the Manager for Infrastructure and Environment, Stu, to respond.
Thank you, Mayor Ebbels and Councillors. I think it's worth responding to the preamble to the question before I respond to addressing any misunderstanding about the reduced building maintenance budget. The building maintenance cost forecast for current financial year 23-24 includes a projected cost of $805,000 for Wharf Street asbestos removal works. This is a one-off 100% grant-funded operating project. The 2024-25 proposed building maintenance budget closely aligns with the 2022-23 actual and is expected to also closely align with the 2023-24 actual after adjusting for the Wharf Street expenditure. We will add additional text in the final budget document to explain that material variance. Now, to specifically answer the question, Council undertakes a condition-based assessment of all buildings on a 3-year lease cycle. The information has informed asset management planning for buildings. The documents that you have noted are examples of documents produced from this process. The most current building asset management plan was adopted by Council in 2019.
Thanks, Stuart. David, that's to do with the Wharf Street, the variance in the dollars worth.
It all in the drafting budget because the same year they didn't upgrade.
Yeah, we'll tidy that up.
We'll tidy that up. Yep.
Figures for maintenance, renewals and repairs, is that itemised in the budget? We have some maintenance and repairs.
So maintenance and repairs are part of the same aggregated budget, and renewal is identified as a separate line item in the budget, yes.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, David, and thank you, Stuart. Public question 2 is from Christine Rees, who's not here, but I will read out her question. Excuse me. Light pollution is an increasing problem worldwide. it causes detrimental effects to wildlife, human health, it raises our view of the stars impacting astronomy, astrophysics, research and access to cultural astronomy. Exposure to nocturnal light disrupts the circadian physiology of wildlife and humans, causing ecological failure and chronic diseases in humans. Murray Road is an important dark area of our town adjacent to Lakers Cutting, which is likely to become Ramsar listed shortly. Lighting this road will be detrimental to all wildlife that live and use this area, from insects, frogs, birds, marsupials and even fish. Yes, light shining into water has been shown to affect fish. Light pollution is particularly detrimental to birds as it causes disorientation and poor navigation, particularly in our migratory shorebirds and seabirds that utilise Swan Bay. Murray Road does not receive a huge amount of traffic, and even less at night. It's also unlikely that bike riders or pedestrians will use it at night. The installation of lights is unnecessary, and an appropriate alternative would be to use reflectors and reflective paint around and on speed cushions, which will light up from car headlights or a bike light. The question is, will the council please consider using alternatives to lights such as reflectors and reflective paint along Murray Road to prevent light pollution and to prevent wildlife in and around Lakers Cutting? A response from the Manager for Infrastructure and Environment.
Thank you, Mayor Bulls. The matter will be considered at item 15.3 in tonight's agenda, and as such, we cannot preempt any decision Council may make by providing a response at this point, but Council will return to this public question following consideration of Murray Road Shared Path Project.
Thank you, Stu. So we'll get you back up later. Thank you. Public question number 3 is from Carmen Bell. Carmen, would you like to ask your question, please?
Age sucks.
We all have it's not, you're not alone there, Carmen.
Okay, dear councillors and officers. State Planning Scheme Amendment VC 148 was gazetted on July 31st, 2018. It introduced changes to the Victoria planning provisions for all Victorian planning schemes arising from the Victorian Government's Smart Planning Programme. The Borough of Queenscliff's response to VC 148 was Planning Scheme Amendment C38 Quen, which was gazetted on the 24th of February 2022. VC 148 came with 2 advisory notes, number 71 and number 72, which stated, among other things, that the language in the Heritage Precinct Design Guidelines, which are replacing the deleted heritage policy, must not be prescriptive, but discretionary, enabling performance-based decisions by planners and VCAT, and that heritage overlays must contain a statement of significance. I understand that C38 Quen was processed in large part by state planners at DELP. Unfortunately, they did not include the mandatory statements of significance in the heritage precincts and places listed in clause 4301. This oversight will require a corrective planning scheme amendment which could make use of existing statements of significance from the 2021 Level 10 Heritage Study. When and how will Council initiate this planning scheme amendment, which should, by the way, be listed on the monthly Council planning report, and who will be responsible to fund it?
Thank you, Carmen. I'll ask the strategic planner to respond to that one.
Thank you, Mayor Ebbels, and thank you, Carmen, for the question. As detailed in Planning Advisory Note 72, which you also reference in your question, a statement of significance is only mandatory for a heritage place included in the heritage overlay after the commencement of Amendment VC 148. VC 148 commenced on the 31st of July 2018. As no additional heritage places have been nominated in the Queenscliff Planning Scheme since the 31st of July 2018, the Queenscliff Planning Scheme is compliant and no corrective planning scheme amendment is required. However, Council can resolve to initiate a planning scheme amendment to incorporate a statement of significance into a heritage overlay, as is the case with Planning Scheme Amendment C40. Council will need to formally consider this proposed action to determine if this is the direction it will take, and as such, council officers cannot provide an answer to the question of when, but we can advise that councillors have requested a briefing on the matter. Council would be required to fund any planning scheme amendment that it resolves to initiate.
Thank you, Dinah. Thank you for the question, Carmen. Public question 4 is from Kine Kruzik Gulab, who's not here, so we'll read the question from Kine. Light pollution is an increasing problem worldwide. However, out of all of the world's pollution problems, light pollution is the easiest to solve, as we can simply switch the lights off. We can implement good urban design lighting plans that are dark sky friendly. Other towns in Australia are now becoming dark sky accredited. In our region, Aries Inlet is in the process of acquiring this accreditation with local council support, which is opening up opportunities for astronomical, I'm just reading how it was done here, tourism with the town holding dark sky events. Will the council please review the current lighting in the borough against dark sky friendly guidelines and remove dim or switch off lights late at night when there is little pedestrian or vehicle traffic that requires them? Will the council consider applying for dark sky accreditation? I'll ask the CEO to respond.
Thank you, Mayor, and through you. Well, I just think we should note that the accreditation under the Dark Sky project is not currently included in the council plan as an objective or an action. However, council officers will research the requirements of the program and prepare a briefing for councillors.
Thank you, Martin. Public question 5 from the Point Lonsdale Civic Association. You happy for me to read? Thank you, David. Public question 5 from the Point Lonsdale Civic Association. Can council please provide a timeline of when a new public toilet to replace existing will be operational at the Point Lonsdale Maritime Defence Precinct? Ask Stuart. Thank you, Stuart. Couldn't see you there, sorry.
Thank you. The replacement of a public toilet located at the Point Lonsdale Marine and Defence Precinct is subject to a complex cultural heritage management plan, a CHMP process. Council's current advice is this CHMP process will take up to 12 months to complete. In the interim, Council will complete a procurement process for the design and construction of a toilet block and undertake community engagement in preparation for the CHMP completion.
Thank you, Stu. Did you have a follow-up question to that, David, or no? No. Item 6, councillors, confirmation of minutes of previous meetings. 6.1, ordinary council meeting, 24th of April. Recommendation that the minutes of the ordinary council meeting on 24th of April 2024 as distributed be confirmed as an accurate record. Can I get someone to move that, please? Move Councillor Minty, second. I will second that. Thank you. All those in favour? Thank you. Passed. 6.2, Audit and Risk Committee meeting on 15th of April 2024. A copy of the minutes from the Audit and Risk Committee meeting on 15th of April 2024 was distributed to councillors under a separate cover. The recommendation that the minutes of the Audit and Risk Committee meeting on 15th of April 2024 as distributed be confirmed as an accurate record. I sit on that committee, so I will... You're prepared to move that one? Yep.
They then confirm their minutes at the next meeting. They haven't done that yet, so perhaps we'll just change it and just say the minutes of the Audit and Risk Committee meeting on 15th of April as to should be accepted. So the council accepts the minutes. We can't confirm them. The Audit and Risk Committee confirm them.
I'll ask for some.
I think that's a wise change.
Yep. Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Grout, for that. I'm happy to second that. Any further discussion on that? If not, I'll put that to vote. All those in favour? Thank you. So moved. Item 7, record of informal meetings of councillors. The recommendation that the record of informal meetings of councillors as presented in adjunct to item 7 be noted. All those, someone to move that, please? Councillor Minty, thank you. I'll second that one. All those in favour? Thank you. So passed. Item 8 is the notice of motion. 8.1, no notices of motion are outstanding. 8.2, no notices of motion were received. Item 9, petitions and joint letters, none received. Item 10 is the functions attended list. Council was presented at the following meetings and functions between 18th of April and the 15th of May 2024. The recommendation, councillors, that functions attended report be received. I'd like someone to move that one. I think Councillor Minty. Someone to second that? I will second that. Thank you. All those in favour? Thank you. So carried. Item 11, the Chief Executive Officer. 11.1, Chief Executive Officer Report for May 2024. Thank you, Mr. CEO.
Thank you, Mayor, and through you, I'll take the report as read, but just a reminder, especially to the people in the gallery, that the budget's open for submissions at the moment, and I do note a number of you have already provided submissions, so thank you, but that closes this Friday. So if you haven't had a chance, please make sure you do.
Councillors, do we have any questions for the CEO in regard to his report? No? Councillor Grout? No? Any questions? No? I was just going to say congratulate you and thank you for your contribution in regard to the Respect 2024. That's really good, and thank you. I'm quite happy to move the CEO accept the report. Someone to second that? Councillor Minty, thank you. All those in favour? Thank you. So moved. We then move to item 15, Heritage Planning and Infrastructure, and ask Tim is going to join us tonight. Thank you, Tim.
Thank you, Mayor. The Planning Permit Activity Report for the close of business 13th of May 2024. I'll take the report as read and happy to take any questions.
Yep. Do we have any questions for Tim?
Sorry, Councillor Minty, I missed the question.
You need your speaker.
For 81 Hesse Street, that's now completed?
Correct, yes.
Yeah.
81? Yes.
It is now.
Maybe the correct is that we've issued a notice of decision.
Right.
So those people who choose to have got 14 days from that, I think it was last Friday, Tim, that's right, if they want to appeal that decision.
And obviously with the report, it's a timing when we get the agenda out, when things are actually
That's right,
as
yeah.
well.
So this, for the reporting cycle, this needs to come through the week before, and obviously business takes place with applications in between, and that's what's happened on this occasion, as it does with a number of applications.
The objectives will be waiting 28 days from the decision, do you?
Yes, yeah. So notice of decision, so the objectors have the opportunity to appeal the decision. Yep.
And also, just for the members of the gallery, just note that we did receive today briefings on 75 Learmont Street and also 98 Hesse Street as well. Any other questions for Tim? No? If not, it's my portfolio, so I'll move we accept the report. Second, thank you. All those in favour? Thank you. Also, sorry Tim, before you go, I do have a motion that I would like to move that Council receive a briefing for planning application 2024 017, 36 to 38 and 40 Chest Hunt Street, Point Lonsdale. So I'll move that if I can get someone to second that, please. Thank you, Councillor Minty. Any further discussion on that one, councillors? No? Thank you. All those in favour of that? Thank you. Thank you, Tim.
Thank you, Mayor.
Item 15.2, Point Lonsdale Lighthouse Reserve Project Update. Thank you, Abby.
Good evening, Mayor and Councillors. The purpose of the report is to provide an update on the capital work projects Council is currently undertaking at the Point Lonsdale Lighthouse Reserve. The recommendation is that Council notes the Point Lonsdale Lighthouse Reserve project update for May 2024. I will take this report as read and I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Councillors, do we have any questions for Abby in regard to the Point Lonsdale Lighthouse Reserve project? No? No? I'll just add, I think you may have put it here, but there is a meeting on Monday,
Monday.
as well, the next meeting as well. So,
next PCG. Yep.
So I'm quite happy to move. The council notes the Point Lonsdale Lighthouse Reserve project update for May 2024. I'm happy to move that. Can I get a seconder for that? Thank you, Councillor Minty. All those in favour? Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 15.3, Murray Road Shared Use Project. That's the Manager Infrastructure and Environment.
Thank you, Mayor Ebbels. Good evening again, and Mayor Ebbels and councillors. The purpose of this report is to present options for improving conditions for pedestrians and cyclists on Murray Road, along with an overview of the community engagement survey of the potential treatment options. I'll take the report as read, but provide some commentary to provide the context for the Office of Recommendation. The engagement survey presented 5 concept options to the community. These can briefly be explained as traffic calming, shared pathway, which is proposed to be on the south side of Murray Road, an option to incorporate a section of one-way road, an option incorporating a partial closure of the road, and a status quo option. Officers recognise there is not one option that perfectly addresses the objectives of protecting cyclists and pedestrians, managing traffic behaviour, and managing impact on environment and amenity. Each option presented at differing strengths with the objectives they addressed equally with their weaknesses against other opposing objectives. A summary of the community survey results is presented on page 29 of the agenda, indicating the option of shared pathway had the strongest support from the broader community. The survey results led officers to discount both the one-way and the partial road closure options. Subsequent engagement held in the form of drop-in sessions discovered that among immediately impacted residents abutting Ward Road and those within the Springs area, the traffic calming option was the most preferred, with a much lower rate of support for the shared path and in some cases opposition to the shared path. Officers evaluated the 3 remaining options of traffic calming, shared path and status quo with consideration to both the survey engagement and the drop-in sessions. The officer recommendation has been made with a level of subjectiveness due to a weighting being applied to those stakeholders who are directly impacted. The officer recommendation is presented on page 27 of tonight's agenda. The recommendation is to progress the traffic calming option to a detailed design or construction phase design, detailing all elements, including the necessary lighting. On completion of the design, it is recommended by the officer to further the stakeholder engagement and also return to council with a briefing. I reiterate that this recommendation is made, understanding that this option, like all the options, is not perfect, and the recommendation has been made with a level of subjectiveness. In considering this report, it should be noted that the 3 options presented within the option sections of this report are all viable options in their own right for differing reasons. Thank you.
Thank you, Stu. Do we have any questions for Stu, or do I need a mover first, Mr. Chair? Sorry, Rob. I'll just, first I've got a mover and a seconder for the recommendation. I'm quite happy to move the recommendation as presented by the officers. Could I get someone to second that? Thank you. Some questions or comments?
I do have a question. Well, not a question. I would ask you to, based on the figures, and this is something we've also discussed, based on the figures and results of the survey, that it seems the shared path on the south side is the obvious, I hate to say winner, but obviously the most preferred situation, but there were real concerns around that option. Now, I accept that you're saying that the report is taken as read, but for the gallery, would it be worthwhile restating your consideration on that for their benefit, please?
Yeah, definitely. So, as you said, the survey results indicated that 60% of the respondents were for a shared path. When we considered the engagement from the drop-in sessions, we engaged directly with some of the impacted stakeholders. The issues that were raised through those discussions really centred in on issues of amenity, with the path cutting through the front of their properties, concern around environment, the need to trim or remove some vegetation, and also the impact to, I guess, the arrangements, the drainage arrangements on the western end near the corner of, sorry, I'm going blank. Nelson. Sorry. So I guess the lens that was put over it was, if we take a broader network level view of the objectives in serving the broader community in the broader region, the shared pathway is certainly a strong option. When you put the lens of the impact to the directly impacted residents and the local community, specifically in Murray Road, the residents who abut Murray Road and also reside within the Springs area, and take a much more local view of it, I think what we get out of the stakeholder engagement tells us that the traffic calming really is the preferred option on that community level.
So, Councillor Grout?
Yeah, if I can follow up that question, because it's related. So what's your view as to whether a shared path option could be incorporated at some stage in the future if the demand on that roadway changes over time? And would the traffic calming measures that we introduce through this recommendation, would that in any way obviate being able to have a shared pathway down the track?
No, this won't impact the ability to construct a shared path in future if the need presents. Absolutely.
Yep. And then I do have a second question, which is about the funding, because I know TAC might look at design and construct funding for this sort of program. How much weight do they give to surveys where the broad community support appears to be for a solution other than what we have before us in the recommendation?
I'll answer this question from a different angle. I think the story we tell from the data we've collected from our complete engagement tells a very clear story about our community, and I think that would support a grant application.
Yep. I think that's a good response. Yep.
Thank you, Councillor Grant. Stu, just a couple of things. I guess I'm pleased to see that when doing the engagement, we do consider weighting of people who are directly affected by any particular proposed changes. Obviously, as it's stated here, we will do more direct engagement, so nothing's decided yet until we've done that. And a note in item C, you will then bring the results of that engagement back to the council. So obviously more consultation. I was going to ask about the in the street lighting. So the plan wouldn't be to light all of Murray Road. I imagine it's just where the actual calming pads would take place.
Correct. So the requirement is that the traffic calming devices, if you like, that whether it be a speed hump or whether it's a chicane or even a roundabout, there's lighting required at those specific locations to indicate or to provide the drivers with clear vision of what could otherwise be a hazard. There's no intent to light any further than those specific locations, and without preempting the detailed design, I anticipate that there'd be a traffic management location or a speed hump location in each third of the road, so 3 locations.
The 3 lights. And those lights, imagine, with like tennis court lights, you can baffle them so they don't. I know one of the concerns is obviously with earlier questions about, if local fauna and fish, that we can actually just direct the lighting onto those calming measures.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess some of the thinking behind the recommendation and how we've recommended to go to this detailed design for construction, if you like, and then engage is for us to really put that effort into finding the best solution, and that may be baffling and finding the least impact solution, and then engaging with the community again, knowing that the lighting is a big issue to the community, both from the environmental perspective and an amenity perspective.
Okay, that's great. Thank you, Stu. Any further questions? No? So I'll put that to the vote. All those in favour? Yeah, thank you. So moved. Thank you very much, Stu. And stay where you are. We are referring back to our public question, which from Christine Rees. So I'll just ask you to respond to that now, please.
Yes, excellent. So the question related to the lighting of those traffic management locations and whether we could design without. So the response is the installation of a local area traffic management infrastructure is guided by the Off-Road Guide to Road Design, Part 8, Guide to Traffic Management, specifically local area traffic management. These guidelines stipulate the requirement to light the local area traffic management infrastructure like road humps or roundabouts or chicanes.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you, Stuart.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Councillors, item 15.4, Borough of Queenscliff Draft Coastal and Marine Management Plan. Talk to strategic. Thank you. Tim.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll take the report as read and happy to take any questions. Just briefly, the purpose of this report is to present the draft Borough of Queenscliff Coastal Marine Management Plan for endorsement for the purpose of public exhibition. The draft plan is a culmination of intensive work and collaboration among community members and community groups, stakeholders and partner agencies, Wairaranga as the traditional owners, council officers, councillors and a consultant. There will be additional public consultation scheduled on the 23rd and 24th of June 2024 if the draft plan is put on public notice consultation on the 6th of June, and it's as per the recommendation on page 35, Mayor.
Thank you very much, Tim. Councillors, I'd like to make the following recommendation, is that Council requests the CEO to place the draft Borough of Queenscliff Coastal and Marine Management Plan on public exhibition in accordance with Section 60, 1 and 2 of the Marine and Coastal Act 2018. That's my motion. Yep. Someone to second that? Councillor Minty, thank you. Councillors, any questions or comments in regard to the CWMP? No? Councillor Grant? Can you just put your mic on? Put your mic on. Mic on, Michael.
Stay on. So I'd just like to make a comment about it because I've been involved with it a bit on the project steering committee, was it? So I want to thank all the people who have been involved in developing this draft. And I particularly appreciate the guidance and the project management of Michelle Dixon, who the council recruited to help us with this process. and also the input of two community members. That was Chris Smythe and Richard Davis, who both have expertise in this area, which is why they selected to participate in the process. I think the process that we've been through has been much better for this draft. The structure's good. The analysis and most of the proposals for responding to the challenges around our coastal lands provides a much more suitable document now for community input. I think the precincts that have been selected that have a logic behind why we've grouped the areas as we have. We really do need to have a coastal management plan. The current one was written or was passed anyway in about 2007, so we're long due for this update. This draft is a bit more of a strategic plan for our coast. Now, I'm okay with many of the actions, but some of them I think still need to have a bit more clarity. And some of them may need a bit of rework, and the community input will certainly flag where there's a need for this. I think if we have some more clarity around the deliverables, we will all understand what it is we're trying to do here, and we'll know whether we actually do achieve it. I think we can also improve our monitoring, and it's described in the plan. I think we can improve it by, in the next 5-year period after the plan is put in place, we would then be in a position where we need to measure whether things are working or what needs might be changing around coastal use. So collecting data in that 5-year period, I think will really help council in its allocation of scarce resources for the more urgent and important actions. So I really encourage people to have an input and particularly focusing on the precincts and the actions associated with each precinct.
Thank you very much, Councillor Grout, and I certainly endorse Councillor Grout's words to thank all those involved in the committee, and particular thanks to Councillor Grout who chaired that project control group as well. Thank you very much for your work with that, Councillor Grout.
And Councillor Hewitt before.
And yep. Councillor Hewitt before you. Thank you. So we do have a mover and a seconder for that. All those in favour? Thank you. So moved. Thank you. Item 15.5, Planning Scheme Amendment C40 Quen Fisherman's Flat. Thank you, Strategic Planner Dinah.
Strategic Planner Dinah. Hello again, Mayor and Councillors. Again, I'm going to take this report as having been read. The purpose of the report is to present the submissions that we received during the exhibition of Planning Scheme Amendment C40 Quen. We received 12 submissions during the exhibition period, which commenced on the 7th of March and concluded on the 12th of April. Of those 12 submissions, 3 were from organisations or residents who don't live in Fisherman's Flat, and the other 9 were from residents of Beach Street. Upon review and discussion with submitters, it's become apparent that the resolution of the majority of the issues raised in submissions cannot be reached at a local level. Hence the recommendation or resolution that we're seeking to request that Council ask the Minister for Planning to appoint a panel to hear submissions and make recommendations. Are there any questions?
No questions at this stage, but I'd like to move the following recommendation, two-part recommendation. Move that item 1, that Council updates the summary of submissions in the Council's report to include reference to the matters raised by submitter 2, and 2, that Council resolves to write and request the Minister for Planning appoint a panel to hear public submissions to the Planning Scheme Amendment C40 Quen. I've got that motion. Could I get someone to second that motion? Thank you, Councillor Minty. I will speak to the motion, and just certainly I'm pleased to see that we're including the proposed additional items proposed by submitter 2, and I think that's a really good addition to be referred to the panel. As we can see, and as Dinah's mentioned, there's still some unresolved matters, and I think there's some things obviously we need to go to the panel to do. There's also some things some of the submitters I think can be easily hopefully easily taken on board by the panel as well in regard to, more about the points of fact and some corrections that need to be made, and with the help of ecology partners, we can move that through pretty quickly. So thank you, obviously, to the office, but also thank you to all the people and our residents, as always, who've been heavily involved in this planning scheme amendment, and we're getting to the pointy end finally, which is great, because it's been, I can't remember, Michael, you'd probably remind me, how many years since we've had an update? It's something like 100 years, according to Carmen. Let's just say it's been many years, so we're really...
It's been 24.
24, that's right, yes. So thank you, Dinah. Councillors, any other questions or comments? No? Councillor Grout, thank you.
Yeah, I'd like to say a few things. Again, I had a bit of involvement with Fisherman's Flat, well, because I was the planning portfolio holder. So I'm really supportive of where we've got to with this. It's been a long overdue improvement to the heritage protections in Fisherman's Flat. Since 1985, I think there's only been 16 of the 74 plus dwellings have been considered contributory, and none of the small one-bedroom original fishermen's houses, what we call the outbuildings or sheds, are included in that number. And so from early on in the council, we were confronted with applications, including a removal of one of these original little sheds, if you like. So we've actually spent a lot of time just considering planning applications, and some of them have gone to VCAT, which is more time and money. I think this the improved proposal here is long overdue. I think the version that we've currently got applies some pretty clear criteria, including the relevance of the fishing licences and the fishing family connections to the building of the flats. Now we're proposing, if this amendment goes through, the one that goes to the panel is proposing over 50 of the dwellings will be contributory, which is a significant change from the current status. We can see from the submissions here that there is actually quite a detailed body of knowledge that the Fisher Flat folk hold about the precinct that they live in. And I think it'll ultimately be good for the town and for the flats if we capture the relevant parts of that in our planning scheme. So owners can still improve their dwellings within the guidelines, but these do respect then the unique heritage that Fisherman's Flat precinct represents.
Thanks to Councillor Grout. If there's no further comments, I'll put that to the vote. All those in favour? So moved. Thank you. Thank you. And thank you to our local people who have contributed greatly again.
Fisher Flat folk.
Fisher Flat folk. It's a new FFF. Okay. We need a badge. We need a badge with that on now. Item 16, Governance and Finance, Review of Council Policies. I'll refer to the CEO, Mr. Gill.
Thank you, Mayor, and through you. I will take the report as read and just note that we've been lucky enough to work with the councillors and the Audit and Risk Committee in the review process, so I know the councillors are very familiar with the changes that have been proposed, and I'm happy to take any questions on them.
Thank you. And Council did receive a briefing last week on those proposed changes. I'm quite happy to move the recommendation that Council adopt the following revised policies as presented. ACP 036, Fixed Assets Valuation and Re-evaluation, and BCP 040, Borrowings. Can I get someone to second Councillor Minty? Any questions or comments, councillors? No? Councillor Grout, any comments? No? I'll put that to the vote then. All those in favour? Thank you. So moved. Item 17, there's no reports to consider. 18, questions without notice. Question without notice, status update. No questions without notice are outstanding. 18.2, questions without notice. Councillors, do we have any questions without notice? Yes, Councillor Grout?
Yep. Did you want to go? Sorry. Yep. My question is about the last night's volunteers night, which I attended. It was really well run and well attended. Now, some of our community groups have told me this morning that they didn't feel that they'd been invited. So my questions are, what is the process for inviting the volunteers, and why do some of our community groups feel they've missed out?
Yeah, I probably will take it on notice because I need to speak to the relevant officers, but my understanding, just to answer briefly, is that the invitations went out to those groups that have been nominated, and I'm hoping, and I'll need to double check this, that everyone that was nominated was invited. So I'll need to double check that, yeah.
I'm certainly aware of other groups that were invited as well, but
Yep.
So you'll take that on notice and get back to it. Any other questions, Councillor Grant? No, Councillor Minty? No, I have no further questions, thank you. Item 19, list of council meetings. As mentioned, we do have the budget submissions hearing on Monday the 3rd of June, which will take place at the Hub. We will also have a planning review meeting on Wednesday the 12th of June at 7 p.m. And also note under item 18, it's been necessary to change the date of the draft submission hearing due to my availability. As noted here, the hearing has been moved to Monday the 3rd of June at 6 p.m. and will be held at Ring Auditorium, which is our Queenscliff Hub. So I just need a recommendation, which I'll move that council receives budget submissions and where requested, allow submitters to be heard by council in support of those written submissions on any proposal contained in the draft budget documents at a public hearing on Monday the 3rd of June 2024 at 6 p.m. So I'll move that. If I get someone to second that one. Thank you, Councillor Minty. All those in favour? Thank you, councillors. Item 20, the Chair will close the meeting to consider confidential items. Recommendation that in accordance with section 66(1) and 66(2)A of the Local Government Act, the meeting will be closed to members of the public for the consideration of the following items. 20.1, which is the Community Grants and Events Sponsorship Reference Group appointments. Thank you very much for your attendance, everyone, and we'll see you at one of our next meetings, no doubt. I don't know. Can I get someone to second that, please? Thank you, Councillor Minty. All those in favour? Thank you, folks.